brings to her cheeks 1,000 anemones. The wind breaks ringlets of hyacinth over the heads of roses, all intoxicated imagery. As among the meadows I inhale, it's still better than any modern English poetry you're going to read, even in translation. Pick up a poetry journal, or read the daily poem they give in some newspapers or some other magazines. They're incomprehensible things, and they say usually nothing. And then you read this, and you're like, oh, it takes your breath away because it's so incandescent, whatever it's trying to say. How did they create this? So there was a formula of some kind. When the wine sun fills the bowl of the east, over the heads of the roses, as among the meadows I inhale the fragrance of her rich, guess what? Her hair. That does not express the night of separation, for the fragments of her explanation would fill 100 books. You will not satisfy hunger and desire from the tray. Anyway, it goes on like that. When the wind passes with her grace, to have what was desired for 1,000 years, cross the grave of Hafiz, lamentation will rise from the dust. Come, pass me the cup, quickly and hand it on. Love, first appeared easy, but trouble fell on me. The wind disclosed, guess what? The musk of your hair. My heart was twisted in the musky flame. In my love's house there is no place in peace and pleasure. At every breath the caravan bells cried, ride on, stain your prayer rug with wine. Probably means intoxication or spiritual enlightenment. If the wise man tells you, for that traveler knows the road's news and the customs of its houses, I guess the enlightened people are supposed to understand this. Waves, black night, and the whirlpool are my terrors. Where do the carefree, careless know me? Their life is on the shore. All my work has been drawn from self-interest to infamy. How can I conceal what they would celebrate? Hafiz, do not give up what you desire. For what you love, leave the world, forsake it. Go away, go to non-existence for what you love. That's what we have of Hafiz. There's probably much more on this thing. You can read and read and read. It would be 100 times better if you read it in its original language, obviously. But that's example of Sufi poetry, of a kind of formulaic, mystic expression of union with God and the beloved, and as being equivalent things, and the cup, seeking fauna, seeking non-existence, seeking to disappear into God. Mystical ecstasy. I don't have much else to do at the moment. I do want to just take a look at this Muslim view of the Crusaders. We have a little time, and then I'll tell you about the exam. How about that? Okay. So I said I would do that, and now we do have a little time. Let me see if I can find it, since it's so funny. I was reading you a bit last time, and it makes the Crusaders seem like a pack of animals. I wouldn't be surprised if they probably were. Let's see.
202.
202. Thanks, Al. I'm going around. I got to open it. This fellow, Usama, you sure it's 202? Let's see if I can find the beginning. I don't see it. That's not it.
Go to 203, but 202 is not there.
Oh, okay. I'm not seeing it 202. Okay. So Usama, he was born in 1095. How many have seen that new movie that's out now on cable, The City of God or something it's called?
Oh, yeah, I have that movie.
Well, I know you do. You're a big movie buff, I know that. Well, you know, that's from the Titanic maker's view of the Crusades, which is a pretty pitiful view, but it's not so bad. Anyway, that's the same time as this, anyway. That's the same time as this is happening. That's supposed to be a true story, that portrait of the Crusades that he gives in that movie, with fireballs flying through the air and armies assaulting walls, and all full of special effects and modern cartoon violence. This is, I think, a more down-to-earth picture anyway of what was going on. One could say, as he says here, that he's using the adab style here. And he was among the Franks, and he was a friend of Saladin, the Muslim reconqueror of Palestine, the Kurdish Muslim who became head of a dynasty for a time, as we said. Look, his first excerpt here. Mysterious are the works of the Creator, the author of all things. When it comes to recount the cases about the Franks, you see, Richard the Lionheart, is he a Frank?
No.
Oh yes, he is. He's a Frank because he actually comes from Aquitaine in France. His mother was Eleanor of Aquitaine. He only spoke French. It was a French-English dynasty put on the throne of France. So to the Arabs, these are Franks. And now the word Frank in Arabic still exists. And those people who come from Arab countries in the classroom will tell you, foreigners, all foreigners in Arab countries are still called Frangis. Frangis. Oh, the Frangis are here. Americans are Frangis. You'd be a Frangi if you went. I'm a Frangi. We're all Frangis. Like in Japan, all foreigners are Gaijins. In Muslim lands, particularly Arab ones, foreigners are Frangis, Frenchies. Because the French came here in the Crusades, and this is the impression they made on us. So he's speaking about the Franks, but he means all the knights who came on the Crusades. He calls them all French, but they're not really Franks anymore. They are Frenchies, but they all speak French. And yeah, France still claims a big role in the Middle East. France is always meddling in the Middle East. France has not given up on the Middle East even today. France wants Lebanon to be under her control. She has an interest in Syria. She was very angry when the British took Palestine. She doesn't like the Americans meddling in Iraq. She does everything she can to undermine the American position in Iraq at the UN, and since that time, which has in fact caused a lot of the unhappiness and negativity the Americans have found in Iraq. Without what happened at the UN previously under French direction, the American experience in Iraq would have been probably much more felicitous, but the people there got encouragement not only to resist, but to have contempt for the American involvement. That has grown and that is continuing. Now, the French are always playing a game there, and it has to do with the Vatican to some extent, because the French have always represented Vatican interests. The Crusades were a Vatican project led by French knights. Actually, they were Norman knights, really. Most of them were Norman knights, and the Normans were very good fighters who came from Norse countries. That's why they're called Norsemen. They were Norsemen who settled in Normandy on the coast of France, and they also conquered England, which is why the relationship at that time between France and England was strong. You know, when did the Battle of Hastings take place? 1066. That was a Norman conquest of England in 1060. What we're talking about here, around 1095, 30 years later. The same